Welcome to the Mike and JD Show YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. I want you to do me a big favor before you check out this clip. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to throw in a comment and make sure you're a subscriber to this channel. And then I want you to share this video with your friends. Help us defeat the algorithm. And then if you like this content and you appreciate this content, please head over to patreon.com/the Mike and JD Show and support the show. That is how we actually get funded to be able to do this. So we thank you very much for being here. And now enjoy the clip. Motor City Machine Guns. We're very clearly getting a heel turn for Alex Shelley. And I think we're getting a heel turn for Chris Sabin too. And I'm going to get into the match here in a little bit that he had with Mustafa Ali. And they're teasing something, but I found this to be very interesting that on April 21st, the night after Rebellion, the TV taping night, Motor City Machine Guns are booked elsewhere. They're booked, I think, for like Smash or something like that. And I think somebody in the chat could probably correct me. That's fascinating to me. Why one of the top acts in the company would not be at the television taping to go to an indie show. And the theory is, and there are a couple of people had this theory that are in my this chat group that I have. The theory is they're going to take time away from television, probably miss a taping to go away for a little bit and come back as heels. I don't think that they need to leave to do that. I think they could just turn heel and still be on the show. But why you would let them go work an indie show during a television taping? Keep in mind the television tapings at the Palms, where they only at this point. I'm not going to get into the seat counting for the Palms because we know that like the lead up, the week of the event is when they're going to start selling tickets. Because that's kind of a last minute walk up town. But if one of your top acts is advertised elsewhere, that can't help you with ticket sales. It's not going to help. It can only hurt. So why would they do that? It makes no sense. Now, and you know, some might argue that maybe they're leaving the company. I don't think that's the case, because they just re-signed last year and it was like considered a multiple year deal. Now maybe those budget cuts are starting to happen, and that's we're seeing that right now. But I just don't, this doesn't make any freaking sense to me. Why you would have the Guns working elsewhere on a TV taping night in the Pearl at the Palms when it's very important to the company to sell tickets, to get as many people in there as you possibly can. The Guns can only help with that, especially if you turn them heel, right? That makes absolutely no freaking sense to me. And lastly, before we get into the recap, Rebellion, we got some Rebellion matches announced. And we got Nick Nemeth. He's going to be challenging for Moose. I think we all saw this coming. And they announced it right after Impact this week because in the main event, you know, after Nemeth and Speedball Mountain won their trios match, they were attacked by the system. And then after it went off the air on Twitter, they announced the match. So I thought that maybe they would, you know, announce it this coming up week after doing an angle where there's a challenge made, but no, they just like Moose attacked him. So now that's the match. So, and that's fine. That's fine. I think they want to get it out there that Nemeth is the guy going forward. That's an interesting matchup to me because Moose's title matches have not been impressive. In fact, I thought his first run was much better as far as like what he's been able to do in the ring. I just have not been impressed. Like I thought like his match at Hard to Kill when he was the champion against, was it Morrissey and Matt Cardona that year? I think it was 2021. I thought it was much better than what he's had recently. And then he had some title matches against like Rich Swann and some other folks that I thought were much better than what he's currently going through right now. And then of course the title match he had at Rebellion with Josh that year was probably the best match that he's ever had personally. But he had some very good matches on that first run, and then so far this run has been, very middle of the road, I would say. So I'm interested to see what him and Nemeth can do, because I thought the best match Nemeth ever had was his match against Macklin at Sacrifice last weekend. I watched that thing twice to make sure I wasn't crazy, and I wasn't. That was the best match that he's ever had. Oh, Lucha in the chat says he's had one title match. Well, that's not true. He's had 3. He challenged for Alex Shelley's title, and then he defended it against Alex Shelley, and then he just defended it against Eric Young. So he's had 3 title matches. I thought the one where he won the title I thought that was pretty good. I like that better than most people. Then they had the gimmick match with Shelley that had kind of the wonky finish, the weird finish. And then I was not impressed with his match with Eric Young, like, at all. Some people liked it. I just didn't. So right now I'm thinking, yeah, it was so good that Lucha forgot No Surrender. Yeah, I think we all wanted to forget that match. Like, I didn't think it was a bad match. Like, I thought the match with Eric Young at Sacrifice, I thought that was a bad match. I thought they just missed the mark. They were trying to go for something, and they were holding it all till the very end of the match when they did the interference, and then they picked up the pace. But I thought everything leading up to that was boring. There was a lot of rest holds and chin locks and all that stuff. And I'm just like, these guys are capable of so much more. And this is a world title match on a big show, the most stacked TNA Plus card they ever had, and they could have showed out, and they opted not to. They took the night off. But so I'm interested to see where they go with this Nemeth thing. Nemeth is like the poster boy for a lot of what they're doing going forward. I know that the system is on the poster for Under Siege, are being heavily promoted for that, but like the poster child for Rebellion has been Nick Nemeth. Like, he is the guy that they think that's going to draw this pay-per-view and this crowd. So I'll be curious to see if they end Moose's title reign. I don't think they should. I just don't think that we're ready to see a new champion. Like, they're just now establishing this group. I just don't think it's time. It's just not time. They can flip it to Nemeth later in the year if they really want to stick with Nemeth. I don't know that he's actually signed here. They never made that announcement, and it's not been reported that he is a signed talent, and he's got his New Japan dates. So I don't know. I just don't think it's time. And then we also got I think they're announcing oh yeah, let's see. Speaking of Nemeth, why hasn't he had the global title with him? I think that's very interesting. A friend of mine, Jeremy Finestone, that covers New Japan on his show over on Fight Game Media Network, speaking of strong style, thought that it was going to be the match with Macklin was going to be the global title, but he did not bring the title with him. And I think it's because I don't think they want to promote him as the global champion, although they have said that. I don't think they want to promote him as the global champion. I think it's because he's losing to Moose, right? And they don't want it to be like, to insult their partners in New Japan. They just put this title on him, and he's coming over holding that title, and then he loses to Moose in a champion versus champion match. So they don't really want to promote that. So I think that's why, because it gives them flexibility to let him lose. But if they bring him in as the global champion, they'll probably feel compelled to make him win everything. And that removes the flexibility that they have with Nemeth. So I think that's why. I could be wrong. I know that the partnership between New Japan and TNA has slowed down since they had Okada. But we still have Kevin Knight on his excursion. People think that he signed with TNA. Show me the announcement where it said that he signed with TNA. This is very much a Uemura situation, where people also thought that Uemura was signed with TNA. No, he was just embedded in TNA for a year. He became part of the company. And then when his time was up, he lost the briefcase, and then he went back to New Japan. I think that's what's happening with Kevin Knight, and we still got him. So, and it wouldn't shock me to see somebody booked for Rebellion. A lot of New Japan stars are going to be in town around that time, because there's several, they got the show that's in Chicago. They got the show that's in Chicago coming up. And so maybe they'll bring somebody over from New Japan for Rebellion. I could see that. So I don't think that the New Japan partnership is done. I still think it's gonna go strong, and I think TNA is a good partner for New Japan because A, they get the show on Access, which again I don't know how valuable that is, but it seems to be valuable to them, and B, they're not really worried about TNA signing their stars. TNA ain't got no money to do that, so they're not gonna sign anybody out from under them. So that's not how they do. That's not how they can do business. So I think it's a kind of a beneficial relationship. And Lucha says, "Who is there to bring over?" Well, I mean, Tetsuya Naito still a pretty big star, and TNA loves Ishii. They love Kenta. In fact, they were selling Kenta T-shirts recently, like a couple months ago. So to make me think that Kenta was probably coming back over. Now I'm not a I don't think Kenta's very good anymore, but I know that they really like him. And TNA obviously has a relationship with David Finlay. Again, I'm not a big fan of David Finlay as a single star. I liked the Finjuice tag team, and I thought they were good in TNA, but they got David Finlay, Tomohiro Ishii, Minoru Suzuki, older dudes, but again, those are dudes that TNA likes that I could see them trying to bring over. I don't think they bring over any of their young up and coming talent to do anything. I can see them trying to bring over Sonata again at some point. Sonata's title run in his IWGP title run in New Japan was pretty fucking awful and it was cold. But when he came over last year and wrestled Jake something, I thought he looked really good. And I thought it was kind of cool to see him return to TNA. So they got that relationship there too. So they still have some talent. I mean, we never really got a match with Hiromu Takahashi in TNA. I'd like to see that. At one point they were teasing a match with Ace Austin, and we just never got it. I'd like to see Hiromu come over, mix it up in the X Division a little bit, even if just for a pay-per-view. That I think that would be fun. A pay-per-view or a TV taping, series. That would be fun. So New Japan still has some guys, and then Lucha also brings up the AAA partnership has been kind of quiet since Hard to Kill. Yeah, that is the weirdest thing ever. They made this whole to-do about a partnership that already existed. They signed a contract about something that they were already doing, and outside of Vikingo, the only guy that we have seen is Laredo Kid, and Laredo Kid was booked to lose to Crazy Steve over the weekend, and he had travel issues. I don't fucking blame Laredo Kid at all. If I were Laredo Kid, next time Tommy Dreamer calls him up to get booked, I don't answer that phone call. I don't. I think Laredo Kid's just better off staying in Mexico or going somewhere else because that guy is a very talented dude. He really is. He's very good. And he can't get nothing in TNA. Nothing. Do I think that there will be some AAA talent in Las Vegas for Rebellion? Yeah, I do. Who that would be, I don't know. I think Vikingo's hurt, so who knows when he's going to be able to come back. But I do think that we'll see some folks coming into Las Vegas because Las Vegas, big Hispanic market in Las Vegas. I think that we'll see somebody from AAA there, and then they will lose, which is what we saw. They brought in Vikingo for 2 matches and he lost both. Now he didn't get pinned because they were multi-person matches because you can't fucking you got to do multi-person. But they didn't want to put Vikingo over. So, but yeah, he came in, lost 2 matches, and that was all we saw of Vikingo. But so yeah, lastly, before I get into the recap, I just thought of another thing that I wanted to talk about.